I'm just going to share with you my personal story with cancer. And first I want to mention that in 2012 I came to this wellness convention and listened to a Ron Mann speak. And you can see him if you go to put Charles Reinhardt or Ron Mann in YouTube, or you can pop up the video and see him. And I didn't think that much when he gave his presentation. I don't mean to belittle him, but afterwards I resonated on it a little bit. And it was kind of like he was the first person I met in the modern medical community that I personally met, told to go home and prepare to die, basically, because they gave him a 1% chance to live. And my own story is, I don't have the longevity that he's had from getting that statement, but it's something that I thought I'd share with people here. And the last time I was here, there seemed to be more people that were dealing with cancer. You people all look more healthy. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, first off, I just want to overview. I've had like 4 major surgeries for cancer. Okay, and the first one was in 2002. And after that, I had radiation. And just a tidbit on the radiation is they, in a room a little bit smaller than this, they strap you on a table, and they have a plastic wire mesh that clamps your face down, because that's where my radiation was getting put. And this thing moves all around while you're just strapped into it. And the last thing after they strap you in is they run out of the room, down a hallway, and they close a door that's like on a safe to a bank safe vault that's this thick made of lead. And you're in there all alone, okay? And then they zap the radiation through you. And one thing that I noticed, this is just a tidbit I thought of this morning, is that all the white in the room would turn to green, okay? So I asked the radiologist after that, what was going on there. And the only thing that he mentioned was probably the radiation going through my optical nerve, causing it to be green. And then a light bulb went on. And I remember you watch old sci-fi movies where they run with a Geiger counter where the Martians had landed, and they always talk about them being little green men. They knew what they were talking about. And not many people can experience that. So after that first surgery and radiation, 5 years later, the cancer came back and I had another surgery. And then in 2009, I had another surgery. And actually, the first one was the most difficult. That one that was done in Mankato, Minnesota. And it was 2 surgeons, and they ended up going into the 1 in the morning when I woke up. Okay? So these guys were at it for like 15 hours nonstop, just 2 guys. And so when my cancer came back again, they kind of said, well, maybe it'd be better if you went to Mayo. Well, I'm getting a little mixed up. After the first surgery, that was the first surgery last one. They sent me off to Mayo. Second and third one. Okay. And I was thinking, great. Mayo, Rochester is one of the best places in the world. So I didn't give much thought to anything else that I could do. But as time went on, I would ask the medical staff, and the advice I got was, eat a well-balanced diet. Eat okay. That's basically it. But as time went on, I tried more alternative methods, and that brings us up to 2012, where I had for 2 years before that, I was fortunate enough to have a job where I worked overnight security in a psychiatric hospital, so I could spend a lot of time reading, researching, anything I could on alternative methods. And in 2012, I had my last surgery, and after that surgery, and that one was the worst fun. And that went over 10 hours. And I was in intensive care 3 days, and 9 days in the hospital. And so after that was over, my first doctor's visit, they came up to me and they told me, well, unlike the first 3 surgeries, where each time they told me, you know, we had MRI or the pathology report came back and said, no problem, you know, no cancer, you're good. And I skipped down the road, go on with my life. This time they said, sorry. Not only is it in your, I had soft tissue sarcoma. They said not only is it in your tissue, but it's also in your bones. And I think we should have a talk about palliative care. Okay. So after that, we had a brief talk. Came back in the next visit, and I said, you know, doctor, what do you think? You know, he's an expert dealing with this. How long do I have to live? He said, well, you're not terminal, but we only use that if you have less than 6 months. And I figured you got 2 years. Okay. But just to show that he wasn't being one way or the other, he said, the last person that I told that how long he had to live, I told him he was all worried about it. I told him, don't worry, you got at least 3 months. He says, and the guy died of almost. So, never okay. There's a couple of products that I took that I mentioned. Sudendine tablets, which is an acid reducer, common, inexpensive, over-the-counter cheap product. I've researched on that one where that helps with stopping cancer metabolism, metabolism throughout your bloodstream. And I actually got the doctor, day as we're going up in an elevator to have surgery, told him if I could have that immediately after, and they agreed to that. Otherwise, it's like you can't add anything they don't suggest. So that was one thing I took for like a year, along with modified citrus pectin, something I researched extensively. Okay, and it comes down to what did I do to actually why I'm still alive today. And I try to summarize that, and there's a lot of things to it. And once you start making a list, I could go on forever. I try to summarize it down to like 7 things. These are the 7. And the first one is diet, of course. And the first thing is lowering the sugar intake. Cancer-free from sugar. But that is so much more difficult than it sounds. And one of the first things I did was I started juicing. Of course, what does everyone want to juice? You want to do vegetable fruits, you know, nice sugary fruit. So I went to more like beets and carrots became my sweeteners, along with all the greens. And I could ramble on. Okay, and then trying to do things as raw as possible. And the other one was organic. Okay. And I don't know, next speaker, are you going to mention anything about like the dirty dozen? You put probably like the dirty dozen pesticides, the dirty dozen foods. If you get a listen, I think that's really beneficial. Because the first problem most people have with buying organic is cost. So you should at least find which one, like apples is number 1. So that's the number 1, no matter the cost, you buy the organic. And from there you have to make your decisions. Good on the line. Supplements, that I did with the help of naturopaths and homeopaths, getting a little bit more professional help. And currently I still take like about 20 supplements a day. Okay? And that's where I'm at. And vitamin C, that's something that I was exploring, and one of the things that Charles also mentioned to me and we discussed. I did a regimen for a couple of weeks with vitamin C. And the key on that one, I don't know if it's common knowledge or not, but like they did a study in Mayo Clinic to see if vitamin C would work. But like all studies, you learn about how things actually can be manipulated or done correctly or incorrectly. What they did was one dose a day. And to get vitamin C to work properly, you have to slowly administer it 24 hours a day ongoing for several days to actually start building up and getting things to work properly. So I did that, and that was, I feel was very beneficial. And then I went to a homeopathic doctor in Mankato, and there again, homeopathic, they give you bottles of, which seems to be little bottles of water, and they all seem to be the same when you read the ingredients, but they all have different energies in them. And you're going, whoa. And I'm still not quite convinced. Kind of like the tapping. It's going, what's this? But I had some strange, when I told the doctor what I experienced, my symptoms afterwards, I'm taking this, all she did was beam with a big smile. Okay? And so I think that was beneficial. And then detoxing, coffee enemas, and pure zeolite. The one thing in the coffee enemas, that's part of the Gershon therapy. It's for cancer. That's like one of the oldest, well-known ones. But even something like that, even though I was like, a dead man, I had bought enema bags and I had them for months before I finally used them. Because it's just the idea of taking the tube and sticking it up your butt. It's just
fun.
There's just something you have to overcome. And I'm thinking, once you've done it and gone through it, and you see the results and feel them, it's just amazing. And the simplest way is just like taking a shower on the inside. Everyone should do one every so many years at least. Should do a series. Next is the hydrotherapy. And that's one that I did is probably pretty risky. And what I actually did was, hydrotherapy is when you use water as a heating agent to heat certain parts of your body, because cancer cells will die at like 107 degrees, and normal healthy cell will die at 108. So if you can get right in between there, you can get the cancer cells to die. So I did that in my homemade scientific bathtub at home, running hot water, thermometers, trying not to injure myself at the same time. And so I'm not, it's like most people, you do a lot of different things, and you're not sure which one you can say with it, but I'm thinking these all help. And then making the cut at number 7 was rest. Okay? Because what we all do is we're all too busy, mentally, physically, worrying, all those things. And luckily, I became disabled from my job. My job has to be 100% physically. If you have a broken little finger or broken toe, you can't go to work. So that was a blessing, because then I could sit home and rest. So that was the 7 things I think I did. And other things, and I'm just mentioning this because if anybody in the future or whatever resonates on this like I did with my man, you can always get a hold of Charles and get in touch with me. Here's my email address. You know, I get the name. But some of the other things that I use that I have a little bit of knowledge on is CBD rich hemp oil. And CBD is the most beneficial of the cannabinoids that are in marijuana or hemp. Active-stroke sauna, which Charles is real big on. Energy work and massage. A couple other things I want to mention is I use poly-MDA. That's a known cancer testing. I did that for months. Gave real good shot, I saw no results. Same thing with the protocell, and gave that a real good trial. Didn't get any results from that. And the one thing that, one book I would mention is the China study. It's maybe a kind of a tough read because it's like 400 pages, but I think that was the book that I read that made me change my viewpoint on nutrition and how we're all just part of the environment that we're born and raised in, and that kind of maybe started me in the right direction. And basically that's it. I just wanted to share that and see how it all works out. Thank you for this time.
Okay, all right, now we're going to move right along.